In this guitar lesson, I'll teach y'all how to play Black Mountain Rag. The arrangement that I put together for you is in the style of Doc Watson, and you can download the tablature for this arrangement right below the video player here at countryguitaronline.com. So check that out, but if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to pull up tablature on the screen and work through this entire arrangement one line at a time, and I'll give you all some really good tips for your flat picking. So here's the first line of the tablature, and right above the tablature we have pick stroke direction symbols, and we also have the chord that the rhythm guitar will be playing for each measure. And this is the beginning of the A part. We're going to have four parts to this arrangement. We've got the A part, the B part, the C part, and the D part. So right now let's learn this A part. Let me play through this first line of the tablature and then I'll break it down for you. The one thing that's really important is that we're going to be playing this arrangement with a syncopated rhythm. If you're not familiar with that, a syncopated rhythm sounds kind of like horses galloping. So we're using that syncopated rhythm for this entire arrangement instead of playing more of a straight rhythm. A straight rhythm is a little more robotic sounding. All the notes are evenly spaced like this, you know. But we're going to be using this syncopated rhythm. And that will really give you that Doc Watson sound that we're going for. So focus on using that syncopated rhythm, but let's start breaking this first line of the tablature down. In the very first measure we have a pickup note that will lead us into the main melody that starts in the second measure. So in that first measure, the pickup note, 3rd fret, 2nd string, and we're going to play that 8th note and then slide up 2 frets into the second measure. And that pickup note happens on the and count after the 4 count. So if we count the first measure in 8th notes, we go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slide. And I'm actually using a downstroke on that first pickup note, even though it's on the and count. I just think it's easier that way. So let's learn from that pickup note through the end of the second measure. So we're using our ring finger for most of that, and our pointer finger, except for the very last note in the second measure, we'll use our middle finger right there on the 4th fret, 2nd string. So once you get to that 4th fret note at the end of the second measure, you know, that little slide up 1 fret, you basically repeat the same melody, you know. So that little melody, we're going to repeat that for a few measures. The only difference really is that the pickup note slide, that's sliding up 2 frets, but then the rest of the time we're using our middle finger to do the little 1 fret slide. So let's play from the first measure all the way through the end of the fourth measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slide. It's not too bad. You repeat a lot of that same stuff over and over. So when we get to the end of the fourth measure, we're going to do another little half step slide with the middle finger, but we're going to play a slightly different lick in the fifth measure. So let's listen to that. So after that half step slide, we're going to play the open high E string and then work down the neck, and we'll land on our pointer on the first fret, second string. And leave that pointer finger held down as you play the rest of that. Alright, pause the video if you want to work on that a little bit. But let's play this line one more time, and then we'll move on to the next line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slide. All right, so you notice at the end of the fifth measure, we're landing on that third fret, second string, and we're going to slide up into the fifth fret as we move into the sixth measure, and we're going to play kind of a similar type of melody that we've been using. So let's go ahead and play through the next line of the tablature, measures 6 through 9. And I'm going to actually begin with that eighth note from the previous measure so we can get that slide up into the sixth measure. So here we go. So we're repeating a lot of the same stuff that we've already played. We already know the sixth measure. You know, that's the same melody that we've been using. But then in the seventh measure, you know, we'll slide up, do that same middle finger slide into the seventh measure. But the seventh measure will change up the rhythm a little bit. So the seventh measure, if we're starting the note just before it on the fourth fret, let me kind of talk you through this saying the pick strokes. I think this might help. Slide up, up, down, down, slide up. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's try that one more time. Slide up, down, down, slide up. So let me just play through this nice and slowly, going from the sixth measure through the eighth measure. Pause if you want to work on that. But then once we get to the end of the 8th measure, we're going to do another half step slide with that middle finger into the 9th measure and then play a similar type of riff that we played in the previous line. The difference is at the end of that riff, that note on the 1st fret 2nd string, that's a quarter note. So you just let that ring out for an entire count. So we've learned the entire A part. So before we move on to the B part, let's play the entire A part one time real quick, just so we can kind of wrap our heads around the entire melody. So here we go. Going back to the 1st measure, let's play that A part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, that is the A part. Now let's move into the next line. We've got measures 10 through 13, and this is the beginning of the B part. So let me play through this line real quick. So this is pretty straightforward, but the timing is a little strange, so I'll just count out some of these measures, and hopefully that'll help you work through this. Let's look at the 10th measure. We're going to start out with a real quick slide from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret, that 2nd string there. And it's such a quick slide, you know, just like that. So let's count the 10th measure. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So after you slide up real quick, you know, 1, 2, that's going to last for 2 counts. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. And once you hit that note on the 3rd fret 1st string, that note right there with the dot next to it, that's a dotted quarter note. So that will be 1.5 counts. So we'll count it like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So on the and count, you're just going to do another up pick on that same note. 1,